I went through the severest of racial abuse and a racial experience at a young age. So it kind of shaped me to the person I am today. I see them say some of the most stupidest, negative, hurtful, insulting words. And other times I look at it and just think like, rah, you took the time to write this.
Adebayo Akinfenwa has had to fight his way through the leagues, but he's been fighting a different battle off the pitch as well. The 38-year-old is one of the most racially abused footballers in the country, and Twitter is one of the platforms being used to do it. Channel 4 News has been given exclusive access to a report outlining a trend of racist abuse towards black players once they tweeted anything in support of racial equality. The report analysed over 800,000 tweets sent directly to player accounts during Project Restart, when football returned after the national lockdown. 43% of Premier League players in the study were explicitly targeted with racist abuse. 3 players experienced higher levels of abuse after posting anti-racist messages reflecting a wider trend. Manchester City's Raheem Sterling, Crystal Palace forward Wilfried Zaha and Wycombe Wanderers Adebayo Akinfenwa. Sterling's handle received the most direct mentions during Project Restart, over 47,000. There were 2 significant spikes when Sterling mentioned the abuse he received in a game against former club Liverpool, and after Sterling criticised a White Lives Matter banner that was flown by a handful of Burnley fans at a game against Manchester City shortly after players from both teams took a knee in support of the Black Lives Matter movement. Dozens of users responded to Sterling's post with the phrase, "All lives matter." And this tweet from Zaha detailing racist abuse generated a huge number of responses, some sympathetic, but many containing some of the most offensive racial slurs. This pattern of abuse also affected lower league players. When Adebayo Akinfenwa posted about being referred to as a fat water buffalo by an opposing member of staff, his mentions increased sharply. Most often they repeated the slur, whilst others said it was not racist or using the words victim, idiot or race card. Signify, a data science company, have collated extensive data that shows the extent of the problem. Something else that stood out from the report was the increased use of images and emojis to abuse players.
So if you're sending a banana or a monkey emoji through to a black footballer, we all understand what the context of that is and how abusive that is.
But is the technology there to track and catch those who are potentially breaking the law?
What we've shown through this study is that this kind of abuse can be captured, it can be identified, it can be de-anonymised.
The union that represents players thinks Twitter has failed in its attempts to regulate its own platform and now needs to be taken out of their hands.
We'd really like to see government step in and hold social media platforms to account.
But what are the PFA charity doing themselves to prepare its players to deal with the abuse should they choose to remain on Twitter?
We have a wellbeing department at the PFA. We are there to help and support players who do go through these issues. But again, I think it's a whole game approach, not just a club-to-club approach. Everyone needs to get on board.
Twitter responded saying it strongly condemned the abuse and are proactively engaged and continue to collaborate with our valued partners in football to identify ways to tackle it. 24-hour boycotts have previously been organised, but until Twitter can be better policed, black players will continue to be exposed to vile racist abuse.